Why avoidants always seem to go back to anxious exes, and what to do if this is happening to you right now. If you're in a situation right now where you've got somebody who either ghosted you or has always seemed to keep you at arm's length, even though you guys had love for each other and a connection, and now suddenly they're showing back up in your life, the point of this video is to help you get a deeper perspective to exactly what might be happening here, and also give you some tools to how to show up in this space so that if there is a new connection relationship that is possible with this person, you're not falling back into old patterns and repeating the same type of heartache all over again. So, why do avoidants come back to anxious exes? What you must know about avoidance. Avoidants want connection, but here's the thing, they don't trust it. They don't want to avoid love. They just want to avoid vulnerability. They want to avoid being seen, being needed. They want to avoid being truly known because if they are, they're afraid of being rejected after they open up more. And most likely, if they are an avoidantly attached individual that keep people at arm's length in relationship, there's ways in which their own emotional needs were shamed, ignored, or used against them in childhood, where they created an equation inside themselves that when they can be autonomous and they get space from their primary caregivers, that means they're safe. And if they're too close, they might have been with parents that broke boundaries and they felt engulfed, they felt obligatory love, they felt pressure, they felt like they would lose themselves in those relationships. So let's talk about why this happens. And just before I do, if this is your first time watching my channel, my name's Clayton Olson. I'm a relationship coach, an NLP practitioner who helps people look at the deeper patterns in their life, the deeper drivers of their love life, and helps shift those so they can start to create a life they love and love that lasts. So if you like this channel, if you like the way this message is resonating with you, please subscribe, leave a comment, and be part of this YouTube community. Here's the avoidant loop that they get stuck in if they have not done work on themselves. It starts with longing. So they want connection, they miss intimacy, they feel the ache of isolation. And so what they do then is they approach and they reach out. They flirt, they test the waters, they build a connection with somebody, and they develop closeness. And from that closeness, things start to feel warm, the emotional intimacy starts to build, and then suddenly it gets too much and it pops like a circuit breaker. And when it pops, they go into a mode of panic where it becomes too much. They feel engulfed, they feel obligation, they feel pressure, they feel unsafe, and then they withdraw. They push away, they run their distancing strategies, they ghost, they shut down, they convince themselves that this connection isn't real. And as they withdraw, they then start to feel relief. They start to feel relief because they're coming back to themselves. But then in that relief, as that runs its course, they go all the way back to longing again. So it's a full circle all the way back to longing. And when they hit longing, they miss the connection, they miss the intimacy, they feel the ache of isolation, and they move back into approaching again, trying to build that connection. And the cycle repeats and it repeats. So the avoidant uses you to feel valuable without having to be vulnerable. They get to feel wanted without needing to fully show up in connection with you. And they get to regulate their nervous system through your presence. But the problem with this is it's not actual intimacy. It's emotional outsourcing on their part. So here's the dance. Why does this pattern feel so familiar to the avoidant and maybe to you as well? For the avoidant, closeness equals threat, love equals pressure, independence equals control. And for the anxious, closeness equals safety, love equals chasing somebody, and anxiety equals aliveness. So think about that for a moment. The aliveness that you get from the avoidant pulling away, right? And this is not a conscious thing. Again, not something to blame yourself for, but just noticing what it does to your nervous system. We mistake this aliveness, this anxiety for, oh, wow, this is real chemistry. This is real love. I'm feeling so much. It's like I have fireworks going off inside my body around this person. It must mean something. It's super significant, when really what's happening is it's just activating your own unhealed parts to come into play and pull you into this dance that ultimately is a loop and doesn't lead you to these deeper, devoted places of relationship and love and connection. So How do you begin to shift from anxious to secure using this situation? Number one, you have to grieve the fantasy of them. You have to let go of who you have been hoping that they'd become. You have to let go of the version you believe where you need them. And what this does is it clears a space for the reality of the situation to emerge and your own self-respect to come online. And what that looks like is asking yourself a few questions. What do I feel right now? What am I feeling in my body? What do I need? What do I want to see happen in this situation? What do I want for myself? So these questions, they bring you back from being over there, spinning around, trying to figure them out, to coming back to yourself so that you can anchor into your own experience, make yourself the center of your own emotional universe. And a big piece here is also slowing down the dance, slowing down the cycle, which means you are getting out of being reactive and you're moving into being responsive and intentional with how you're showing up in this connection. So that means you are increasing the space between stimulus and response. Stimulus, they do something, they pull away, they come back, they make some promises. Rather than jumping right in, believing them, or suddenly getting preoccupied with what they're doing, when they're going to text next, slow that down, take some space, be with the tension that is being created within your body, because through tension is how we actually change. We change through our capacity to be with tension. Tension is the off-ramp to all of our internal loops that we get stuck in. When we can be with tension, rather than try to relieve it, we actually escape the familiar and we start to move into unfamiliar territory, which is associated with growth and health. Your job during this time is not to focus on the relationship. It's to learn how to build internal safety. And internal safety might look like routines that you create for yourself. It might look like breath work, movement, dance, get out of your head, get into your body. And also something to pay attention to is notice where you are giving your inner child over to them to take care of, where your inner child is looking for them to suddenly provide safety, provide direction, provide security. That's a subtle transaction that we often do in relationships that is not healthy. Friend and divorce coach Nick Mima said that we get into relationships and we hand over our inner child to the other person, hoping that they'll be a better parent to that inner child than we can be. This is what abandoning ourselves look like. So how can you become the parent for the little one on the inside that the child can begin to truly trust and feel safe with in this experience? And then finally, you want to lead with boundaries, not ultimatums, which means if they come back, you don't collapse and you also don't get demanding. Maybe you slow down and just ask yourself, why now? What's actually changed here? Can they meet me where I'm at and what I want? And being in that truth is powerful because what it allows you to do is ask the important questions where if they say no and they can't meet you or don't want to grow to this level of relationship that your heart is longing for, then they have qualified themselves out of your life. So avoidance may come back, but you do not have to receive them with open arms. Make sure that you are in relationship with what might be happening, what most likely is happening unless they have healed, unless they've done work on themselves, is they are trying to loop you back into their own unconscious pattern. And you have a choice about whether you dive back into that or not. The more that you can use this as an opportunity to stay connected to yourself and stay connected to the values and the things that you want and slow down, the more that you can really start to heal through this practice and move deeper into trusting yourself, trusting life, and also learning more discernment around who to trust that you bring into your life. So if this video spoke to you in some way and it lands, go ahead and please leave a comment, like it, subscribe to the channel if you are wanting more videos. And if you are in this situation right now and you feel like you're becoming disoriented and you're looking for some support to help you do the deeper work, feel free to reach out. I've been doing this work for 12 years with people, and I love walking next to people on this journey because it is some of the most important work that we can do that impacts all areas of your life. There's a link below this video to a application page, and we can start a conversation there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.